Hey there, it's Casey Corbin. I have really been getting into making jewelry and using cabochons. I did a really neat little video with my daughter Maddy, and Maddy has really taken it up, and we started a little bitty jewelry making company called Maddy and her daddy, and been selling some of the pieces that she's been making, I've been making. I usually do some things that I do really prefer that my 10-year-old not do, that mostly being the stuff with the X-Acto knife. So I don't let her do cutting with that. I'll do that for now. But traditionally what you do is and you can see my other video, is you take a blank cabochon that you can order, and these are very refined, made to do exactly what they're doing here. Placed some, I like to use the diamond glaze, it was recommended for me by one of the videos, and really enjoying it. It's doing a great job. Put a drop on there, put the cabochon on what's called a skin. If you're unfamiliar with acrylic paint pouring, also called flow art and fluid art, the drips, you generate a lot of leftovers that kind of drip off of the edge. They're kind of really interesting on the front, but they're also interesting on the back too. There's kind of a blurry, kind of dreamy like state on the back typically, and on the front is a little bit more of the distinct lines. And so you can go kind of keep those things. I have recently even been, when you use a pouring cup, being able to save it, dismantle it, and even be able to get some. In fact, this piece right here came from this cup. So it was from a piece of art that I did, and all this paint was in what's called a dirty pour. And I used it, kind of flattened it out a little bit, and then used the same approach, put down a spot of glue there, and then hold it down in place. One thing that I have found that's worked really well is clothespins. And so here I have several that are drying over here. This is from the similar pour, but this is a runoff from it. That one is from the cup itself. And a clothespin not only keeps it the pressure right where you want it, but ironically sits completely level. You would think with it being at its angles that it wouldn't, but that's perfectly level. So I'm currently drying out about a half dozen over there. So that's how that works, and then I use the X-Acto knife to cut this out of here. A few other things. I was at a art resale store, an art thrift shop, excuse me. So I was in Savannah the other day, and I would highly recommend anytime you get out of town, your town, is to just Google or do a search. I just asked Siri to do it for me while I was driving. A art thrift store, and I found this really neat store with discounted things. I found this big huge roll of these labels, and guess what? These are 25 millimeters across, which is exactly the size of a cabochon. And so they're kind of pre-cut in a way, and I have even done some pouring. This was just a lot of fun for me. It's a little bit of a mess right now, but I'm just doing individualized pouring. And if you've seen my other videos, you know I use a lot of these squeeze needle nose containers. So I was able to do several pours, all probably in the course of, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes real quick to make all of those. And you can just pull those out. Like this one here is one of the stickers. You can put it inside of a pendant tray like this. You can put a cabochon on top of it, and voila, you're done. Of course, there'd be a layer of, I wouldn't trust just the sticker on that, but I have taken my diamond glaze, put it in one of these squeeze bottles too, so I can get a much smaller drop and even some control, and I even use the little needle here to move it around the way I want to. And sometimes, especially when I'm doing a lot of them, I have designated that this is my glue brush, and I will put it in there, and I'll get it around all the areas that I want it to be. I'll also do the back side of the cabochon like I did here. I would paint this one on. And there, I typically do several layers. This one has, it's real white, almost like a kind of fluffy that way because it's real papery, because I peeled off the wax part of the front of this cup, and very carefully, and then I wanted to build up some strength in that, and so the diamond glaze is now creating some strength for me there. So it can be kind of that simple, that easy to be able to use, and you can get these cabochon, or excuse me, the pendant trays in many different colors. And now I'm going to use, this is called a bale. This they come in many different colors. I was able to find what looks like a pewter to me, a very shiny silver, a shiny gold, and then an antique gold. And this, represented in that pile right there for you, is 200 of these little bales. And so I chose to use this antique gold. It's almost a brass kind of color. And I'm going to put that there. I'm going to glue that in place and then put this here on this little sliver of wood. And I had several of these. My wife actually does quite a bit of art on, she makes out of these slices of wood. We sand them down real good so they're no longer rough at all. And then she does watercolor, and then sometimes she does acrylic, but she does it on this wood, and then she'll seal this side, but she purposefully leaves the other side unsealed because I'm sure you've heard of the essential oil craze. So many people into essential oils. And if it left raw like that, you can put a drop of essential oil where this, and it's kind of, close by where you'd want to smell it, for all the purposes that people use essential oil for. And makes it into an attractive but also a little diffuser that keeps with you all day for essential oil. So I plan on leaving this one that I'm about to make in front of you here for the first time, so you're with me on this. Live or die, fail or succeed, you'll be here with me. And this will have a similar purpose. I'll leave the backside raw and allow people to then be able to put essential oil in the back and use that as a diffuser. So I'm going to move some of these things out of my way to be able to do that for you. Just some other examples before I go into that one. I'm using some different size, but very, I call them raw glass. And this is the inexpensive type of glass that you can get at a floral department to fill those floral arrangements are in the glass jars, and you get them in color, but I managed to get some clear ones, and I got several sizes of them, actually 3 different sizes and 3 different bags. Micheals had the biggest one there, and I got it discounted. I think it was down to $1.50 by the time I applied that 40 or 50% coupon to it. And as you're learning this process, I have a lot of wasted ones, and because here's some examples of them. That's a cabochon that didn't go well either, but it's a really good idea to practice on these very inexpensive. These are about 1/10 of the price of the cabochon, and I'm a pretty good shopper. I spent quite a bit of time on Amazon ordering my cabochons. They're not expensive, but hey, if you can practice on something that is 1/10 of the cost, that's even better. And I wish I would have done that before. I would have done examples like that. That turned out just terrible, I think. I've also, the idea here of painting right into the pendant tray, and I'm still experimenting with that. I'm not at all happy with that, but I only use 2 colors, so. One other note before we go on to the project at hand is that I also ordered, these are glass cabochons, and I've also ordered, which are exactly the right size, but I've also ordered the resin, and I gotta tell you, I don't like those at all, really. It's they don't bevel nicely, so one of the nice things about this is that it pulls that image and makes it circular around there. They're designed that way. One of the downsides of what I'm going to call raw glass is that it doesn't, and some of them have kind of some mirroring effects. Again, this one I'm not going to use because you can't even see the design. You can see the design on the back, but you can't even see the design because of the mirrory kind of image on the front of the glass. So there is some advantages certainly with just sticking with those, but I also had some good things turn out with it, and I showed you some of those. This one is a nice piece. I think it really pulls. By the way, that's off the same skin as this one, so you can kind of contrast these. This, I think I just lucked out. This one's pretty good. It's pulling the image up from it. Other ones are not so great, and like that one, that's not glued yet, but it's too mirrory, so I know I put that in my discard pile. So I would not try to use that one. So I don't like the resin ones. They're too flat. They don't bevel real nicely. They're self-adhesive, and that's a problem in and of itself because the diamond glaze really does a great job of pulling all that together and kind of making it one piece, if you will.